The first thing you do in order to make the paper masking tape rocket is to cut out the pattern from the paper. You'll only cut the heavy dark solid black lines. The dotted lines will be where you fold it. Let's cut it out. And here we have all the pieces cut out. This is the body tube, the fins, the fin guide, and the cone, and the pressure cap. First thing up is the body of the tube. You take the piece of 1/2 inch PVC pipe. You will roll this around that. Take a piece of masking tape that is as long as the body tube. We'll put it right along the edge. You see how we're just kind of overlapping it a little bit like that? Flip that over. Take this tube. Remember, as you are rolling it up, you do not want to make it too tight, or it'll make it hard to get off the tube and hard to put on the rocket launcher. So let's roll it on here, because the tape is there. All right. And then roll it straight onto the tape. Push it down, seal the tape up just a little bit more. The next thing we're going to do is the pressure cap. This is the pressure cap. The way we're going to adhere it to the end, we will get 2 pieces of tape, about, I don't know, 1.5 to 2 inches long. We're just going to stick it right there. We'll get another piece, go kind of crisscross applesauce, stick that like that. Alright, so you'll see the end of the tube, and now we will just put it right like that on the end. Push the pieces of tape down. Alright, it's the first step. So now the pressure cap is on the end of our rocket. However, because of all the pressure that will be put on that when it is launched, we are going to put in other pieces of tape that will be covering up the gaps that you see between these pieces of tape, just to make sure that it's extra secure and won't explode before it gets launched. Let's take a slightly longer piece of tape. Put that in the middle. See, it will now cover up those gaps. Alright, we still have that other gap on the side, so we'll take one more, slightly longer. This is probably 2.5 inches long. Put that in the middle. So the second pieces are also going crisscross to each other, but overlapping the gaps. Okay, and there is the pressure cap. The next piece that we will do is the pressure cone. So let's take this. Again, we are just going to fold along the dotted yellow lines. You notice those dots right there? That's going to be the part that is overlapped on the inside when we create this cone. Again, you're just folding along those dotted lines. Let's get a piece of masking tape. It's about that long, about as long as the cone. Alright, so we're going to roll this up so the dots are on the inside, overlapped. This can feel a little bit tricky as you're doing it. Again, looking down inside the cone, you see how that is overlapped so that it creates cone like that. This will go on the end on top of the pressure cap. Take the piece of tape, seal that seam. There's the cone. Alright, next thing we're going to do is we're going to stuff this cone with a piece of tissue to give it some strength, so when it comes down, it lands like this on the ground with the tissue and the tape, you'll be able to kind of reform that back into a point so you can launch it again, because we're going to launch these as many times as we can on the day of our activity. Here's the tissue. As I feed it into the nose cone, we'll see how firm I can make that in there. Okay. Again, we're just creating something to give that nose cone some structure. I find if you kind of turn it around as you're going and pushing the tissue in with your thumb, you can get it in there pretty good. Let's take some more of this tissue, see if we're going to use the whole thing or not. Whatever works for your rocket is good enough. Alright, and then the last tiny little bit. There we go, that's our nose cone. Now take this tube, and we will now attach the nose cone to the body of the rocket on top of the pressure cap. So when we're putting this on, you just kind of line it up like that. You see these little flaps? This is what's going to help adhere it to the body of the launcher. I'm just going to put it this way at a slight angle so it covers the nose cone as well as the tab. Let me go to the opposite side so it kind of evens it out, because you see it kind of wants to go that direction. So let's even that pressure out by going on the opposite side of where we just taped. Okay, and we'll do right here as well. Alright, so we have the cone attached. Let's make sure that this part is also covered with masking tape so we can make sure that it is held in shape. Let's get some smaller pieces of tape, about 1.5 inches, like that. And what we will do is we will just start putting it on there. It will overlap on the other sides. Let's go to the next area up. Comes over the other side and kind of overlaps like that. Here we go. Put it in the middle. And let's get our final piece of tape for the very end of that rocket. We'll kind of do a spiral like that. There we go. So now the nose cone has been covered in tape. One place of weakness is kind of right here where we've got it. So let's take a longer piece of tape and we will wrap it around that direction just to secure it just a little bit more. Alright, and I will do one more just under that. You'll practice on yours to see whatever works best for you. We now have the body of the rocket, the pressure cap, and the cone put on. Next thing we need to do is we need to wrap the body of this rocket with some more masking tape to give it some structure and some strength. Long piece of tape. Let's do this one at a bit of an angle, so we will spiral it down like this. We'll find that there are gaps as we go. That's okay. We will cover those up as well. When we start getting close to the bottom, you're going to stop it so the tape does not go below the bottom of that rocket. Alright, let's do our second layer of tape to cover up that other space. Let's put it there. Okay, so we are now covering up that gap that we left the last time. So see, doesn't matter. We can adjust things and make it work. Wrap it around there. Let's take a piece of tape. We're going to strengthen the very bottom of the rocket just a little bit by putting tape all the way around that. Alright, so we've got a layer of tape all the way down this. I'm a little bit still concerned whether or not I have enough, because I want like 2 layers of tape to cover it, and you can still kind of see through the tape, so you can see that there are areas that only have 1 layer. So let's take another long piece of tape, and I'm going to spiral wrap the rocket this time going the other direction, just to kind of create some more area that is secured by that. Hopefully strengthen some of those other areas that might have had some gaps. It's a balance between covering it with enough tape to make it strong versus having too much tape so that it's going to weigh down our rocket. That's part of the experiment that we have to do, just decide how much would be good for this and how much would be just too much. Alright, there we go. Now here we have our rocket covered with the masking tape that we want. Our next piece that we're going to do is we will put on the fin guide at the bottom so we can make sure that we have the placement of our fins where we want that. So let's take this. You can decide whether you want it this way or this way. I'm going to go this direction so that I'll be more likely to see the numbers where those are going to end up. I'll put some tape on this. Stick it at the bottom. And wrap that up. Okay. You can still see the 3s and the 4s through the tape there. And you can decide whether you want 3 fins on this, spaced around it in thirds, or if you want 4 fins on this. This is your design choice. You can also decide how far down or how far up on the rocket you want to place those fins. As I make this example, I'm going with more traditional, with the fins towards the bottom. What would happen if we put it in the middle or closer to the top? I have no idea. So if you decide to do it that way, you'll see how that affects the way it flies. So we are now going to fold it on these dotted lines, so we'll see how that works out. Fold it in half this way, and then on the bottom dotted line near the edge, we will fold that out the opposite way, just like that, and then on the other side as well. So when you get through folding the fin, it looks like something like this by the edge. It allows us somewhere to adhere it to a surface to tape it to the rocket body. This is what your fin will look like. Okay. I'm going to do 3 fins on this, but if you want to do 4, that works as well. Let me finish folding the rest of these along the dotted lines. Now, we have got our 3 fins. First thing I want to do is, I think I'm going to put tape on the area of the fins. These receive a lot of pressure when they're being launched. You don't want the air to catch it and rip it apart. Okay. Flip that around there. All right. I will put tape on the other fins as well, so those parts are taped as I get ready to put them on there. And here are our 3 fins. I'm going to put this side with the extra fold of masking tape facing towards the top of the rocket, because as it's being launched this direction, it will hopefully hold that a little bit better. As you now see, I will line it up so this fin lines up with the number 3. You know, you could put it right closer to the bottom. I'm going to give it a little bit of space. I've got it lined up at 3. Put that there. Try to make that fin straight on the tube. Okay, so now we've got one side of that tape down. Let's get a piece of tape for the other side. So we have one fin adhered. If you want to get a little bit more tape, just to make it sure that it's securely attached, you can do that. Let's put on fin number 2. Line that up with my number 3, making sure it's about the same distance from the bottom as this tube. Okay, there it is. The more you do of them, the easier it gets putting it on. You kind of figure out how it works. Alright, second fin's on. Let's get the third fin. There we go. Next thing I want to do, I'm just going to get a little piece of tape just to make sure again that the fins are on there strong. I'll put it at an angle at the end of it. See what I did with that? It's going that direction. Get another small piece of tape. And I will go kind of crisscross it back this way. So again, it's just holding it a little bit more securely. And I will do that with all 3. You don't have to do this, but I don't know. I'm just going to do it as a way to make sure that I've got them firmly attached. Last thing I think we're going to do is put a piece of tape along the bottom just to kind of firm up that very last part. Alright, and here we are with our finished rocket. If you want to use a marker, put your name on it somewhere like here. If you want to find the name of a rocket or spaceship that has been sent up into actual space, write that right here. Go ahead and find the name to the current Mars rover, Perseverance, or the Apollo missions that went to the moon. Do some research and decide what name of a real rocket you would like to give your rocket. And there you go. Can't wait to launch them up with you.